Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of reasons why being bi is overwhelming AF. 12 things to be exact. I have 12 things. But before we get started, do you guys like my shirt? Okay, so the first thing on my list is watching a show and having a crush on both love interests at the same time. So this has actually happened to me more than once. One good example is I was watching Fleabag. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is one of my biggest celebrity crushes, just FYI. So I already knew I had a crush on her, but then in the second season, she has a romantic love interest of this one actor. Oh my god, what is his name? Andrew Scott. In season 2, her love interest is Andrew Scott, and I've found myself having a crush on him and her at the same time, which was super overwhelming, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was intense, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick Phoebe. And also, Andrew Scott is gay. So the second thing is, if you're a girl, taking longer to realize that you like girls because you also like guys. If you're a guy, vice versa, taking longer to realize that you also like guys because you also like girls. Yeah, I don't know, like we grow up in this very heteronormative world where some of us don't even learn like what being queer is until later in life. It can just sometimes take a lot longer to recognize that part of ourselves. Just heard a noise back there. There's like a bag falling or something. That scared me. Anyway, the next thing is feeling confused and taking longer to figure out if you are bi or a lesbian. Everyone has to go on that journey, and I think that when you like two genders, the journey can be a lot more confusing because it's not like you're just figuring out if you're straight or a lesbian. It can be confusing because you're neither of those things. Seeing a girl and thinking she's pretty, but having to decipher between if you think she's just pretty or pretty, like you're into her. Worrying that if you date a girl, she will judge you for being bi. And worrying that if you date a guy, he will also judge you for liking girls and for liking both genders. When that happens, you know, it just kind of feels like a lose-lose situation. And I think that is a very unfortunate thing that happens to a lot of people, being judged for being bi. I mean, no one chooses their sexuality, so it's silly to judge someone for something like that. The next thing is worrying that if you get into a long-term relationship with a guy, your queerness will be erased. This is actually a big thing for me. It's kind of an irrational fear, but it's also not. Bi erasure is very real already, and I think a lot of people who are bi but who are in long-term relationships with the opposite gender probably feel like their queerness is erased a little bit because a lot of people probably just assume they're straight because of the relationship that they're in. And I feel like that would be really hard for me. And I don't know how I would tackle those feelings, but I guess it would just have to be like, I know who I am, and that's all that matters, right? I guess I would have to get to that place, which is easier said than done. The next thing is experiencing crushes on guys and girls differently. I've read about this online, and a lot of bisexual people actually experience crushes on each gender differently. Like, they don't feel exactly the same. I mean, they might feel the same for you, but for some people they feel different. For me personally, they definitely feel a little different, and it's kind of hard to explain. And it's not like a huge difference, but it's definitely just a slightly different like vibe and feeling. Like when I have a crush on a girl, if it's like someone I see in a TV show or like someone I'm just scrolling past on Instagram or something like that, usually with a girl it's just like this really intense feeling, just kind of like me being blown away by how pretty she is, and just having the thought like, how is anyone this pretty? And it's just like all these overwhelming feelings. But then when it's a guy, it's just kind of like, he's cute, and just kind of like that little tug you have inside where you're just like into someone. Yeah, I don't know, it's really hard to explain. The next thing is liking both genders, but realizing that if you're a monogamous person, which a lot of people aren't, you are going to ending up with one gender, one person, and that thought really scares and overwhelms you, it's just overwhelming. Like straight people, all they have to do is think, one day I'm gonna meet one person. But when you're bi, you also have this extra layer of it's either gonna be a guy or it's gonna be a girl. And I don't know, something about that, if I'm being honest, is quite overwhelming. When you're bi, you fall in love with people, not genders. And one day I'm going to possibly, probably, hopefully commit to one person. What gender they are is kind of irrelevant because it's not about that, it's about the person. That leads me to my next thing, which is trying to picture your wedding day and feeling really stressed and overwhelmed because you don't know which gender you're gonna end up marrying, and like it's just stressful trying to picture your wedding day when you're like, oh my god, what's even gonna happen? But actually saying it out loud, I feel kind of silly, like I'm not stressed about something like that. I mean, there are so many other things to stress about. I shouldn't even be on the list, but it's definitely a thought that's crossed my mind. Another thing that is overwhelming about being bi is I'll be thinking about girls literally in the next moment, or a few moments later I'll be thinking about guys, and I'll realize like, whoa, that switch just happened. It's just kind of intense, and it's just something that I've noticed. I'm kind of new to this whole thing. I only like recognize this part of myself recently, so it's just kind of intense. Disclaimer, I'm not speaking for all bi people at all. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this experience, but these are my experiences, and I'm not saying it's like my brain is switching back and forth. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying it can kind of feel like that when, like I said, I'll be thinking about girls and then like 5 minutes later I'll be thinking about a guy or something. It's just kind of intense. The next thing is realizing that liking two genders is an experience in itself on top of being gay. Being queer is an experience, right? Liking more than one gender is like a whole nother experience on top of just being queer, which I kind of realized the other day when I was just like feeling overwhelmed. Being bi is just overwhelming sometimes. Like for all of the reasons that I've said, liking more than one gender is literally a whole other experience on top of being queer, which I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about that. The last thing is accepting that you like two genders and that's just the way it's going to be. All of the complexities that come along with that are just going to be a part of your life. You are bisexual, and that is beautiful and complicated and overwhelming and intense and like a million other things, but ultimately it's beautiful and really freaking cool. I'm sure I left so many things out of this video when it comes to things that bi people experience. If you thought of some things, please comment them below and we can chat and talk about, you know, the like intense complexities about who we are and stuff. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe because I will be back very soon with a brand new video. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.